Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak about three things that can either shape your destiny or destroy it. Your mind, your mouth, and your money. These three are small in appearance, but their impact on your life is greater than you can ever imagine. First, the mind. Every success and every failure begins here. If you let your thoughts wander into negativity, your actions will follow. But if you discipline your mind, focusing on growth, resilience, and solutions, your life will reflect that strength. The mind is a battlefield, and the one who wins there wins everywhere. Second, the mouth. Words are powerful. They can heal or they can harm. Once spoken, they cannot be taken back. Many relationships, careers, and dreams have been destroyed not by actions, but by careless words. Wisdom is not always in speaking. It is often in silence. Learn to control your mouth, and people will trust and respect you more. Third, the money. Money itself is not evil. It is neutral, but the way we use it determines whether it blesses or burdens us. Control your money by budgeting, saving, and investing wisely. Avoid impulse spending that satisfies you today but robs your tomorrow. Remember, financial discipline is freedom. Without it, money becomes your master. When you control your mind, you shape your thoughts. When you control your mouth, you shape your relationships. When you control your money, you shape your future. If you lose control of any of these three, you risk losing control of your life. But when you master them, success, peace, and stability naturally follow. So I leave you with this reminder: control your mind, control your mouth, and control your money before they control you. Think about it. Every great achievement, every lasting success, every strong relationship, and every fulfilled dream comes down to this one ability: the power to govern yourself. Self-control is not just about saying no to temptations. It is about saying yes to the future you want. It is about choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure. Without self-control, even the most talented person can waste their potential. You may have intelligence, skill, or opportunity, but if you cannot manage yourself, your emotions, your words, your spending, everything slips away. History is full of examples of brilliant individuals who fell, not because they lacked ability, but because they lacked control. Self-control is like the foundation of a house. No matter how beautiful the design, no matter how expensive the materials, if the foundation is weak, the entire structure will collapse. In the same way, your life cannot stand strong without discipline. If you cannot control your desires, your anger, your tongue, or your habits, your future will always be at risk. And here is the truth: self-control is not something that comes naturally. It is a choice, a practice, and a daily battle. It requires awareness. It requires patience. It requires reminding yourself that your actions today are seeds, and they will grow into either a harvest of regret or a harvest of reward. If self-control is the foundation of discipline, then the mind is the command center of it all. Everything you see in your life today, the decisions you've made, the relationships you've built, the goals you've reached or missed, all of it started in your mind. Before you spoke, before you acted, before you achieved or failed, there was a thought. The mind is not just a place where random ideas float. It is the engine room of destiny. If your mind is filled with fear, you will hesitate. If it is filled with doubt, you will withdraw. But if your mind is filled with clarity, courage, and conviction, your actions will reflect strength and progress. Think of the mind like fertile soil. Whatever you plant there will grow. If you plant weeds of negativity, self-doubt, and anger, you will reap chaos in your life. But if you plant seeds of confidence, gratitude, and determination, your harvest will be success and peace. The danger is that an uncontrolled mind becomes your worst enemy. Worry, overthinking, jealousy, procrastination. These are not outside forces. They are products of a mind left unmanaged. Many people blame circumstances, but in reality, it is often the mind that magnifies problems, making small issues seem like giant obstacles. On the other hand, a controlled mind is your greatest weapon. It gives you the ability to focus when distractions surround you, to stay calm when storms rage around you, and to keep pushing forward when everything inside you wants to quit. That is why the saying goes, conquer your mind, and you conquer your life. Training the mind requires discipline. It means filtering what you allow into it, what you watch, what you listen to, and who you spend time with. It means rejecting toxic thoughts before they take root. It means speaking to yourself with encouragement rather than criticism. Remember, the strongest battles are not fought in the world. They are fought in the mind. We've understood that the mind is the command center, but here lies the challenge. Negative thoughts create negative actions. What lives in your head eventually shows up in your behavior. If you constantly think you're not good enough, you will hesitate when opportunities knock. If you keep replaying your past failures, you'll sabotage your present success. Thoughts are like architects. They design the blueprint of your future. If the architect draws crooked lines, the building will collapse. In the same way, if your mind is full of toxic, harmful thoughts, your actions will follow the same crooked path. The greatest prisons in the world are not made of iron bars. They are built from chains of negative thinking. Have you noticed how one bad thought can snowball? You wake up and think, today is going to be terrible. And suddenly everything feels heavier. But the opposite is also true. When you train your mind to see possibilities instead of problems, your actions shift. You walk with confidence, you speak with power, and you work with purpose. Training your mind for positivity does not mean ignoring reality. It does not mean pretending that pain or struggle does not exist. It means choosing to respond with strength instead of surrender. It means looking at difficulties and saying, this is not the end, this is a lesson. It means replacing I can't with I will try, and it's impossible with let me find a way. Think of your thoughts as the steering wheel of your life. If it turns left, your actions will follow. If it turns right, your actions will follow. The direction of your life is not decided by your circumstances, but by the thoughts you allow to control your mind. That is why training the mind for positivity is a daily discipline. It requires feeding your mind with uplifting knowledge, surrounding yourself with people who speak life, and practicing gratitude for what you already have. Because a positive thought is not just a spark, it is fuel for action, and when your actions change, your entire life begins to transform. Now let us shift our focus from the mind to the mouth. The mouth is one of the smallest parts of the body, yet it carries the greatest power. With a few words, you can inspire a person to believe in themselves, or you can crush their spirit so deeply that they never recover. Think about it. Relationships are not destroyed overnight. They are weakened word by word. A careless insult here, a harsh criticism there, a constant stream of negativity. Slowly it erodes trust, respect, and love. At the same time, relationships are built word by word as well. A kind compliment, a word of encouragement, a sincere apology. These are bricks that build the strongest bonds. The mouth is like a sword. When used with discipline, it can defend, protect, and uplift. But when used recklessly, it cuts down even the people closest to you. That is why wise people choose their words carefully. They understand that silence is sometimes more powerful than speech. Consider this. How many arguments could have been avoided if one person had simply paused before speaking? How many friendships could have been saved if someone had controlled their anger in the heat of the moment? Words once spoken cannot be swallowed back. They remain in the heart and memory of the listener long after the speaker has forgotten them. And the power of the mouth goes beyond relationships. It shapes your destiny. What you say about yourself matters. If you constantly declare, I am unlucky, I am weak, I will never succeed, your life will reflect those declarations. But if you discipline your mouth to speak strength, gratitude, and determination, you create an atmosphere of growth around you. Remember this truth. The tongue has no bones, yet it is strong enough to break a heart. But it is also soft enough to heal one. Whether you use it to destroy or to build is a choice you must make every single day. If the mouth holds power, then we must understand a sobering truth. Words once spoken cannot be taken back. You may regret them later, you may apologize, you may wish you could rewind time. But once your words are released into the air, they find their way into the ears, the mind, and the heart of another person. And once they land there, they can either plant seeds of healing or wounds of hurt. How many times in life have we said something in anger and later thought, "I didn't mean it"? But the reality is, the listener doesn't just hear the words, they feel them. And feelings cannot be erased as easily as words can be forgotten. A careless insult may only take a second to speak, but it can take years to repair. That is why wise people think before they speak. They weigh their words not just for truth, but for timing and tone. Because the right word at the wrong time can still do damage, and the wrong word spoken in frustration can destroy a relationship, a reputation, or even someone's confidence forever. We must treat words as if they are arrows. Once released, they fly fast, and you cannot call them back. That is why discipline of the tongue is essential. A person who controls their words is a person who controls their environment. But there is another side to this truth. Just as hurtful words cannot be taken back, neither can uplifting ones. A word of encouragement, a moment of praise, a simple "I believe in you." These also remain in the heart forever. Many people are walking today not because of their own strength, but because someone once spoke life into them. So the choice is always yours. If you know that your words cannot be retrieved, will you use them to tear down or to build up? Will you use them as weapons or as medicine? Every conversation, every argument, every speech is a test of that choice. One of the greatest disciplines of the mouth is captured in this truth. Speak less, listen more. Wisdom grows in silence. Most people believe strength is shown by how much they can talk, how loud their voice is, or how fast they can respond. But in reality, the wisest people are often the quietest. They understand that every moment you spend listening is a moment you are learning, but every careless word spoken is a moment you cannot take back. Silence is not weakness, it is power under control. A quiet person is not empty, often they are full of understanding. The one who listens carefully sees angles that the talker misses. The one who observes in silence learns truths that the loud never discover. That is why silence has always been the companion of wisdom. Think about arguments. Most conflicts are not fueled by facts but by egos. People rush to defend themselves, to prove they are right, to have the last word. But those who practice restraint, those who hold back, breathe, and listen, are the ones who often come out stronger. They don't waste energy in noise, they preserve energy for solutions, and listening is more than keeping quiet. It is opening your mind and heart to truly understand. When you listen, you show respect. When you listen, you build trust. When you listen, you give yourself the opportunity to grow. You cannot learn while your mouth is moving. You can only learn when your ears are open. Even in personal growth, silence is a teacher. When you spend time in quiet reflection, you begin to hear your own thoughts clearly. You separate your true desires from temporary impulses. You start to recognize patterns in your life that need to change. Silence gives birth to clarity. So remember this discipline. Not every question requires an immediate answer. Not every insult deserves a reply, and not every opinion must be spoken out loud. Sometimes the strongest voice in the room is the one that chooses to remain silent. We have spoken about the mind and the mouth, but now we must turn to another force that quietly rules so many lives, money. And the truth is this: money is a tool, not a master. The problem is that most people reverse this truth. Instead of using money, they let money use them. Instead of controlling money, they let money control every decision, every relationship, and even their sense of self-worth. Money by itself is neutral. It is neither good nor bad. It does not corrupt. It only reveals. It shows who you are when you hold it in your hand. For some, money becomes a tool for generosity, for building, for creating opportunities. For others, it becomes a chain of greed, comparison, and endless dissatisfaction. When you allow money to be your master, you will always feel enslaved. You will chase it endlessly but never feel secure. You will sacrifice your peace, your family, even your integrity just to have more. And yet the hunger will never end. Because money was never designed to fill the emptiness inside a human soul. It was only meant to serve as a resource, a servant, a tool. But when you learn to control money, everything shifts. You begin to see money not as a prize but as a responsibility. You start directing it with intention instead of spending it with impulse. You stop asking, "How can I look rich?" and start asking, "How can I grow, save, and invest so my future is secure?" And here lies the test. Money can either magnify your discipline or magnify your recklessness. If you are careless with a little, you will be careless with much. But if you learn to manage even the smallest income wisely, you set yourself up for greater stability tomorrow. Think of money as a hammer. In the hands of a builder, it creates homes, bridges, and opportunities. In the hands of the careless, it can cause destruction. The hammer itself is not the problem. It is how you choose to use it. The same is true for money. So never allow money to sit on the throne of your heart. Let it sit in your hands where it belongs. Because once you remember that money is your servant, not your master, you regain the power to live with freedom, dignity, and purpose. When you look closely at life, you will see that success is not built on luck, chance, or talent alone. It is built on discipline. And the three areas we have explored today, your mind, your mouth, and your money, are the pillars that hold up everything else. If you can control your mind, you will master your thoughts, direct your focus, and win the invisible battles within. If you can control your mouth, you will build trust, protect relationships, and speak words that heal instead of harm. If you can control your money, you will create stability, freedom, and a future that cannot be shaken. But if you lose control of even one of these three, your life can drift into chaos. That is why discipline is not an option. It is a necessity. So I leave you with this challenge. Before you take a step, check your mind. Before you open your mouth, check your words. Before you spend a coin, check your priorities. Because the one who conquers their mind, mouth, and money is the one who truly conquers life.